Hello, Momet friends! Andang here for a bit of fever news on Transport Fever. The frequently asked questions section has been updated with quite a few interesting responses, so let's go ahead and go right into it. The top question, which is what I'm probably most excited about, is they asked, do owners of Train Fever get a discount on Transport Fever? And the answer was, at least as matters stand now, customers who bought Train Fever get a discount on Transport Fever. Details about this discount are not yet decided. So, this is obviously great news for those that don't know. When Train Fever initially released, it was actually at a fairly low price. It was like $35 or something like that, which for the quality of game was actually really low. And I'm assuming that, this might actually be a full price game, I don't know, but it might also be a lower cost one. And then to have a discount on top of that would be absolutely amazing. And discounts, at least on Steam, which they say later on that they are going to be releasing on Steam, it's fairly easy, as far as I understand, to have owners of previous games get discounts on newer ones, which is something that is not done often enough, I think. Especially for online mediums where it's really easy to track who purchased what previously when it's literally in your library. I think more games should do this type of discount. Reward your fans and help them feel like that they actually want to purchase your game, especially in the simulation genre where typically iterations are not as immense as they are in others. Although with this particular game, they're making a ton of awesome new changes. But it's nice to have this discount. Cities XL, as many problems as there are with that game series, they did one thing right, which was to discount their future iterations. They had too many iterations by the end of things, but they did a good job with fans by allowing them to not to pay as much for each of these iterations. And so I actually thought that was a cool thing, and I wish more game developers would do this. It is something that is fairly easy to do. I know it does cost them money, but it also gains them a ton of goodwill that can then be shared to other players and get them new players interested in their game to continue and grow their audience. And if people are on the fence but already own the previous game, this might make them more likely to get the discount. So the rest of this first section is mostly stuff that we already know. Another interesting thing is there will not be Steam Early Access, at least there are no plans currently to be doing anything like that, but there will be a closed beta test, and there will be more info on how to sign up for that later. And currently they are, once again, going to be releasing in fall 2016. So moving on to features, the first question is, what is the maximum map size? And they basically respond by saying you can make the maps be beyond the recommended size, which really doesn't tell you anything. I'm assuming that there's, I'm guessing eventually there has to be a limit, but maybe there's not. But the more interesting question is the game optimized for late game performance? Many people who've played Train Fever know that at least in previous versions, they've had major issues when the game gets to a late game, especially on a large recommended map size, that there becomes issues with performance. Their response is yes. Several new algorithms optimize the amount of necessary calculations and reduce processing time. Also, multi-core support helps ensure fluent gameplay even when scenes get big. So obviously that is great news. They've optimized the late game performance, and hopefully by the time it actually releases, that optimization will still be there and they'll be able to make it maybe even better. And we'll be able to have a nice, good gameplay throughout the entirety and be able to build our transport empires as big as we want. Another question, does the game have a multiplayer mode? No, the game focuses on the single player experience. Due to development time, we can't do this, yada, yada, yada. This has now become one of their most requested features. Before this was announced, and before they fixed a lot of the requested features they had with Train Fever in this announcement, they had other things that were higher priorities, but since they've fixed those things, multiplayer has been the number one most requested that I've seen anyway of what players want. So hopefully at some point down the line there will either be a mod or some support to help make multiplayer possible. That would be really cool. Or even just AI multiplayer would be nice as well. Which brings us to the next question. Are there computer-controlled opponents in the game? Answer is, though there are no real computer-controlled opponents, it is planned that some campaign missions include non-player controlled vehicles. So I'm guessing what that means is that there will be either planes or ships going back and forth between certain trade routes that are not controlled by the player and are instead controlled by some AI script that they have going for the particular mission. And then there's some other questions that are not too important that are either already answered or something like that. Another really big thing, though, is the 20-minute rule. For those that don't know, in Train Fever, there is the 20-minute rule, where basically if it's more than 20 minutes to get something from point A to point B, people will not ride it. Or goods will not ride it, or whatever you're trying to transport won't work. And so their answer to this is that passengers and cargo choose their route and destination based on various parameters, including time and cost. Passengers may prefer a fast route, while cargo strives for the cheapest route. Details about this topic may be discussed in an upcoming developer blog! So what I get from this is that it doesn't say that the 20-minute rule is eliminated, but it sounds like maybe it might. It sounds like they're trying to do a different way to this. I wish they would have more definitively answered if they're getting rid of the 20-minute rule or not, though. Alright, and is there a day-night cycle or weather effects in the game? The release version will not include a day and night cycle nor weather effects, but some of this features, that's what they wrote, might be added later. Do cities accept different types of goods? Cities accept various manufactured goods which influence growth. Details about this feature may be discussed in an upcoming developer blog. That is awesome. This is right up there as one of the most requested features. People have been wanting for a long time to not just be transporting goods to cities, but instead have to do different types of goods, which adds an extra challenge and also makes the game more interesting, even though it's rather arbitrarily the same. And so it's nice, so nice. This was going to add so much depth to the series, where now you'll need to be transporting certain things to certain cities that will not be as effective if you take them to another city. And so I'm so excited about that change. That is almost as big as just adding other transport types to me. This is a big, big deal and will help add a ton of depth to the game, so I'm very excited about that. Question: is there a first-person view? Answer: in addition to the free movement and the vehicle follow mode, the camera can now set to show a vehicle's front perspective while driving. Super awesome for people who want to see that type of a perspective of their game world. It's really nice that they're adding that in. Question: are one-way roads and traffic signals available? Answer: because managing private transport is not the main focus of Transport Fever, these features have not yet been implemented. However, because quite a few players requested these features, they may still be added. And then it goes into various modding things, which are all really good. I'll have a link in the description that will link to this frequently asked questions section, this FAQ. And they said that they will also be updating it over time, so there should be new answers to questions that people have been asking frequently to the developers over time that will be added in here. Overall, I'm amazed at how many things that they have taken from players as suggestions and implemented into Transport Fever. It is absolutely amazing. They have the cross-rail to where now that you can cross rails across. They have all sorts of new switches and things like that that you can do. A bunch of other just basic feature changes. Plus now we find out that they have confirmed that cities will have different types of goods, which is a huge, huge thing. That it was a major requested feature for a long, long time. I mean, the whole time of Train Fever, and they never added it in, but with Transport Fever they will. and they will be giving Transport Fever at a discount. So for players who have been wanting these new feature implements, they will not have to pay as much as players who are coming in fresh. So that is very, very nice. I am super excited about Transport Fever now. I was already fairly excited before, but the responses to these questions are absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see more about this game, and I will be covering it later. Let me know in the comments below what type of questions you'd like answered. Obviously, I can't answer them, but I'm just curious what features you would like to see in Transport Fever. Let me know in the comments below, and I will be doing more videos as more news comes out for Transport Fever. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more content.